Well, my dad was one of the founders of Hattiesburg Clinic, one of the 8 original doctors. We moved here from Laurel to do that. My brothers are doctors, my sisters are nurse practitioners. My father offered to send me to medical school when Matt was very small, my son, and I knew that I would not get to be a mother to him if I did something like that. So I had to make a choice, and I chose to be the mother and work that 9 to 5, 8 to 5 on weekdays, and so that's where my career path went. I've been through some very, very hard times. My marriage fell apart. I had my son, and it was just the 2 of us, and it was me and him against the world. He was a National Merit finalist. He was a great athlete. He could make people laugh. He had the greatest sense of humor. He was the prize. And I thought, God is going to do something with him because he is so incredible and I'm so gifted to have him in my life. And then I lost him. He was killed by a drunk driver, and right before he turned 21. I was devastated. I was shattered. I didn't know that I would survive, and I came very close at times not surviving, except that I had made a promise. We made a promise to each other one time that if anything happened to the other, we would go on. And I told him, I said, Matt, I thought about that. You need to promise me if something happens to me that you'll be strong and you'll make it. I know you'll grieve and I know you'll hurt. You'll have the rest of your life to live, and I will be proud of you if you go on and live it and do something meaningful. And he said, Mama, don't you think I feel the same way? He said, you've dedicated your whole life to me. And he said, I need to know you'll go on too. And he did the finger thing, and I went, I cannot do this. And then I thought, I've just got to lie. Put that finger in, and we promised. And after they told me he was dead, that was the first thing that came to my mind was, why did you make me promise that? I was looking up a pottery term, and I came across the term kintsukuroi. And I went, what in the world is that? So I looked it up, it came up, and it dropped me to my knees. I went, oh my goodness, if I could have only had a piece of this when Matt died to remind me day in and day out that if I keep going, God can put those pieces back together. In ancient Japan, they passed down pottery from generation to generation. They had tea sets and other things that had been handed down for 400 years in the same family. If they broke it, it was a tragedy. But they would take it to a kintsukuroi artist who would put all the pieces back together with gold, with the understanding that it is more valuable now for having been broken and having the gold in it than it was before. And we are too, if we use the brokenness that we've been through to help others going through the same thing, we become more valuable. I said, I think I could make this. And that's when I bumped into Susan.
Well, when Jean called and she said, I am just on fire about this, kintsukuroi. And I said, what? I had no idea what it was. But when she told me, I said, well, Jean, I do pottery all the time. I would love to, to do it with you. And I said, now, I can't break it. If I make it, you got to break it. So she's always, and really, that's the harder job.
The breaking is therapeutic, especially if you've been having a bad day. And the putting back together is therapeutic because you get a sense of loving this pot and wanting it to be beautiful again and wanting it to be valuable. And you think maybe that's how God is feeling when we're hurting, There's some pots that don't want to be put back together. Sometimes you have to just pull it all apart and clean the adhesive stuff off and start over again and not give up. And God doesn't give up on us, If sometimes there is a piece that's so shattered, it won't fit back in. But the space can be filled. It can be filled with something valuable. And people who've lost, they feel like they're walking skin and they're empty. And you have to find something to fill that emptiness, and God can do it, and it may not be exactly what it was before, but it can give you a purpose in life. I started off by making a piece for myself, and then I began to give it to people I knew who'd lost children. And then people started wanting to give it to this person or that person, and that's what I do now. And that's my, I'm also a painter. That's my artwork. This is my heart work. So
I love the symbolism of, once we were broken, but we're back together, and the beauty of the whole Kent-Suckeroy. It's just really meaningful. I'm so pleased to be a part of it.
It's just taught me perseverance and leaning on God and trusting even when you think it's not going like it's supposed to, when you want to rail at Him. At least you're railing at Him because you know He exists. It's perseverance and encouragement of others and some sort of symbolism which people can look at day in and day out. And I finally looked at the piece I made for myself and I went, Jean, you're not struggling to get there, you're there. You've already been put back together, and you're trying to use that to help other people struggling to be put back together. You can look at it in struggle, but you can look at it in victory also.